You hungry? Hey, Ma! Can we get some meatloaf?
This has like a mom's basement kind of feel.
Mom! Mom! Mom!
Still some stuff in the basement.
What basement?
Mom's Basement with Joe Frank. That is quite possibly the dumbest thing I think you've ever said. And Corey Diab.
I can't believe I take part in this show.
Mom's Basement, back at it again. As always, I'm your host, Joe. With me, as usual, is Corey.
What's up, guys?
Glad to be back. New Year, same podcast, all right?
It's been like a month.
It's been a while. I don't even know what happened. It's all a blur.
Well, I mean, what is it? We work alternate weekends.
Yeah, so we work the opposite weekends of each other, so it's a hassle sometimes.
But we're going to make it work.
We got a new schedule coming next week. Also, you probably see the screen behind us. It's either something pretty cool or I didn't figure out how to use it and it's just green. So stay tuned because I don't know if I'm going to be able to figure this out.
I don't even know what you're planning on putting there.
I was going to put, so we talk about Chicago teams. I was going to put the Chicago teams behind us and alternate the background as we switch topics.
Oh, that's pretty dope.
It's a pretty good idea.
I just talk. I don't know what happens.
It's whether I can execute the idea.
Well, we're going to
YouTube's going to be there to help me out. Just really quick, 2017... great year for us. We saw a lot of growth on the podcast. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate all the hate we get. Love it. Love the hate. Need the hate.
What were the stats you told me for our last, 3 podcasts?
Our last 3 podcasts each have over 1,000 downloads on iTunes, which is nuts. We started the year getting...
See, that's so weird to me because I don't even know if I believe it.
We do.
That's crazy.
We do. 100%.
That's fucking awesome.
We started the year with 200... maybe-ish on an episode, and we've grown a lot, so thank you guys. We're going to keep pushing 2018 here. A lot of new stuff coming out. And as always, I want to give the shout-out to the Crossover Report. That Crossover Report on all social media and crossoverreport.com.
I love Crossover Report.
They're the best. The best on Twitter, even though they did forget to call LeBron James the greatest of all time yesterday.
Because he's not.
I'll let it slide this time, but... hopefully they've got a lot of stuff coming out in 2018 as well. Check them out because they're just killing it as always. All right, now we've missed a lot.
we really have. I mean, what have we got since we've been gone?
Since we've been gone.
I was really hoping you didn't do that, but it's a great song.
It's a great song.
We got the Bears, new coaching staff.
Oh, thank God.
Zach LaVine came back.
It's Zach LaVine Day right now.
It is Zach LaVine Day, and we're watching the Patriots. Fuck.
It's the Cubs convention.
Oh,
yeah, we forgot to put the Bulls game back on.
Yeah, that's really making me upset.
The Cubs convention's this weekend. Just a lot going on in Chicago sports right now. We're going to start with what I want to start with and what I feel is the most important thing.
Love it.
The Chicago Bears finally getting rid of John Fox. We all knew this was going to happen. I actually had a guy at work tell me, they're not going to fire him. They're not going to fire him. I was like, bro.
How old was that guy?
He's like 50.
Yeah, there we go.
He's up there, yeah.
Right.
But I was like, I was sitting there thinking like, I could go use some profanity right now. Be how stupid he is.
Mm-hmm.
But not going to do that. Didn't do that. Here I am weeks later. I'm right. And they bring in, I think he was number 2 on your list. Or was he number 3 on your list?
My list sort of bounced around. I mean, my top 3 were pretty set. I liked Josh McDaniels. I liked John DeFilippo from Philadelphia. I like John. Now, the reason why I actually like John DeFilippo over the third guy on the list is because I thought, it said he was going to try to keep Vic Fangio. Spoiler alert, the Bears kept Vic Fangio anyway. And the second reason why is because I didn't like how the third guy sort of utilized his best weapon come playoff time. But the third guy on my list then spoiler alert, right? Is the current Bears head coach, new hire, Matt Nagy.
Yeah, I'm going to call him Matt Nagy just because I don't want to say Nagy. I don't like the way that sounds.
That's how I think it was Adam Hogue on Twitter. He asked him, how do you pronounce your last name? And he said Nagy. So
well, I don't put as much stock into the whole Kareem Hunt second half, Kansas City blows another playoff lead.
Yeah.
If it's me, and I'm just going to be blatantly honest with you, if I'm in the playoffs knowing, and it was said on Twitter that he knew he was going to be named the Bears head coach before the game, how focused are you on winning that? Like, how how 100% dug in are you on that game? Because I would be distracted. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
I mean, it's a playoff game.
Get
If he's getting distracted, I don't like that as much of as an excuse. But the other thing I saw too, I think it came from Aaron Lemming. He tweeted out that Nagy had, and I'm gonna call him 16 different things now. That Matt Nagy had said that he took over the play calling for Andy Reid. Andy Reid wasn't calling the plays, but then Aaron also thought that Nagy was covering up for Andy Reid.
That's possible. I mean,
it's possible. I hope that's the case because the only thing I don't want to see is, let's say that the Bears, get back to the playoffs. Let's say next year they're a 10-win team and get to the playoffs. I don't want him not using Jordan Howard. I don't want him not using Tariq Cohen. I don't want him throwing the ball, 50 times a game with Mitch Trubisky, with Jordan Howard,
there's a lot of loyalty.
Passes.
A lot of loyalty there with Andy Reid. He coached under him for 10 years or so. So, I mean, he could be covering for him. I don't put as much stock into that. I really don't.
And at that point, too, that's just kind of splitting hairs because I have my top three, and I'm like, okay, who do I like most of the top
You're
three?
nitpicking, essentially.
Yeah, you really are.
And a lot of people really criticized Doug Peterson's clock management before he was named the Philadelphia head coach. I forget the game, but I just remember him getting buried for clock management, time management. And look how that's worked out. I mean, Philly just won a playoff game in which they're the 1 seed in the NFC, and they're an underdog because their quarterback's
they don't have their quarterback.
And Nick Foles is playing, and they beat the team that just went to the Super Bowl last year in Atlanta. But we all know that Dan Quinn really knows how to lose football games. I'm not even gonna go further in case anyone from Atlanta is watching it. Now I've pissed off the whole city of Atlanta
twice.
Sports fans.
Twice.
Corey's already done it twice.
Fuck Braves fans.
I really don't want to do it once.
They're awful. But anywho,
Atlanta fans.
So back to Matt Nagy though. We talk about it. Solid offensive mind. I really like the hire because this was Ryan. I've said it before. I said it before when Ryan Pace traded up to draft Mitchell Trubisky. He ties his job to his quarterback. Now you tie your job to the coach. John Fox was never a permanent solution for the Bears. He was never going to be any sort of long-term answer. It was up to Ryan Pace to hire the young, it doesn't have to be an offensive mind, but it has to be a young mind who is more accustomed to how modern football works. And he just tied his job to this guy.
Yeah, so now there's two essentially cabins on the train here for Ryan Pace.
Mm-hmm.
One's Mitchell Trubisky, and the caboose is Matt Nagy right now, bringing up. So, he's going to live or die with them. Yeah, Nagy's a really, really good hire for Trubisky for this offense because, what I see when I actually went back and was watching some YouTube videos just on the Kansas City offense because, he didn't start calling plays till over halfway through the season. I mean, they started 5-0 and Andy Reid was still calling the plays. So I went and looked back and it's kind of like a similarly built team to the Bears.
Yeah, I was going to say a West Coast scheme. I thought you were going somewhere else, but continue.
Yeah, I think Kelsey's obviously a better player than Shaheen, but I think they can utilize him the same way. Same with Tariq Cohen. Yeah, same with Tariq Cohen as a Kareem Hunt type, or I don't think Jordan Howard fits as well personally because he likes to use running backs in the passing game, and Jordan Howard has bricks for hands.
Yeah,
so
Jordan Howard's an awesome running back. He has terrible hands, but they have Tariq Cohen.
Right.
So you could probably put the two of them on the field at the same time and really create some matchups.
And the more I like maybe getting a guy like Jarvis Landry who can just dime and duck you.
Yeah,
running slant routes.
We know what you're trying to say.
Running the slant routes, drag routes, curl routes, and then getting somebody like Shaheen over the seam, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think the offenses are similar in that way. Obviously, they're weak at the wide receiver position, while Kansas City had the budding star of Tyreek Hill, who can catch the ball at the line of scrimmage and go 100 yards.
And just a couple points I wanted to bring up based on everything you just said there. You said he took over play calling about halfway through the season. I saw someone tweet out, I can't remember who, I usually like to give credit to these people, but it was a good point, that this might be a hire that is a year too early. And I don't know if that means you need to temper your expectations or not, but Nagy hasn't had play calling duties for very long, let alone head coaching
duties,
responsibilities. Yeah. So if they struggle early next year, I'm going to be okay with it.
Yeah, I'm totally fine.
I'm okay with it because, again, he's a 39-year-old head coach. He is going to, need time to adjust to what it means to be a head coach, to be in charge of an offense, but also be in charge of, if you count practice squad guys and everything, the 60-plus guys, the 60-plus personalities in that room. It's going to take time. So
Not to mention, there's a difference between Kansas City and Chicago.
yeah, absolutely.
Huge difference.
He's gonna have to deal with the Chicago media too. It's gonna be a lot. So I think I have no doubt that he's gonna adjust well. I just think that it's a good thing that they hired him a year too early, because if they hire him, say, next offseason, they might have more competition for him.
Absolutely, and he's really made his job easier by getting these coordinators, and we're going to talk about both. But we're going to start with the guy who we said was key for the Bears to get back, and that's obviously defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. Huge get for the Bears. Huge get.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been if you had to downgrade it to somebody else, like one of his, like a defensive assistant or something like that, you would have been making a huge downgrade. I think Fangio is not, the end-all, be-all when it comes to defensive coordinators, but he still is one of the top defensive coordinators in the game. The Bears, when they have a healthy defense, have a top 10 defense, and when they can stay off the field, they're going to be an even better unit. I think re-signing Vic Fangio, he got a 3-year deal. It's going to be, I think that's who he is in the NFL. People are always wondering if he's going to move on to be a head coach. I just think he's one of the best defensive coordinators in football.
Kind of like a Rex Ryan.
Yeah, sort of like a Rex Ryan. I'm not saying he would be a bad head coach because we don't know, but I think that he gets the absolute most talent out of the players he has.
And the players love him.
The players do love him, and I also think this improves the chances slightly of players like Kyle Fuller and Prince Amukamara and all these other players at positions where the Bears aren't already strong at coming back.
Yeah.
I think that there's a chance that they can come back.
And then moving to the offensive side, he gets former Oregon head coach Mark Helfrich, who I actually I wasn't expecting this.
No, I wasn't either.
I kind of like it. I mean, Helfrich won 37 games at Oregon. He was a damn good coach there. Obviously, everyone talks about how Chip Kelly kind of made Oregon what it is. Blah blah blah. It is what it is. This guy understands offense, which is going to really work well with Matt Nagy. Kind of two good offensive minds working together.
And he's young too.
He's young, so they can kind of mold this offense the way they want it. They've got the quarterback. They've got a couple weapons. They need more. Obviously, maybe need another tackle or something on the offensive line. But this is a team that's close, and we've said that before. They're closer than people think.
Absolutely.
And maybe they got maybe they got Nagy a year early, like you said. But let these guys develop together as a unit, as a staff, and I think you're going to see a lot of good things from the Bears.
Yeah, and I don't know if you have it mentioned here. I want to pull up the guy's name really quick while I'm trying to rant on here. But we talked about as well how where was I going with this? We talked about Jarvis Landry previously and whatnot. The free agent market, as far as wide receivers go, there isn't a number one wide receiver in my opinion on the market. Jarvis Landry is one of those guys who is going to be like a real under 8 to 15 yard type of threat, but you need to find a guy as well who's going to be a deep threat, stretch the defense. But what I do have confidence in is that Nagy is going to, whatever wide receivers the Bears have, he's going to get the most out of. I would love to see Jarvis Landry. I saw someone speaking with Aaron Lemming about how maybe Ryan Pace makes his sort of Alshon Jeffrey move, but he does it on the trade market. They trade, a higher pick for somebody, I don't know, maybe an A.J. Green or something like that. I don't know how it would work necessarily, the dynamics of a trade like that. But you can't just let Mitch Trubisky go in with Dontrell Inman as his number one receiver. It's just not going to work.
I'm looking at the free agents this offseason for wide receivers, and names like Terrell Pryor, Sammy Watkins, Eric Decker, Dontrell Inman's on here. A name that's interesting is Albert Wilson from Kansas City.
From Kansas City. Obviously, familiarity with Matt Nagy out in there.
Paul Richardson's a guy whose name has come up with the Bears, just from Seattle. I mean, nothing flashy there.
Yeah, I mean, I know numbers aren't everything either, but I don't see a single 1,000-yard receiver.
Right.
1,000-yard receiver on that.
And that's why I think,
list.
like you said, the trade market is going to be a better route for the Bears to go, because I don't want them to draft a wide receiver, personally.
I don't want him to draft him at 8. We're going to talk about their draft, but I don't want him to draft one at 8. I definitely agree.
Yeah, I think, and then just moving back to the staff here really quick, Chris Tabor, special teams coach, he's had good success in Cleveland in this role. He was with the Bears previously, so I like that. I mean, special teams is underrated.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Browns fans who were tweeting that Tabor is an awful special teams coach, but they were an 0-16 football team.
Yeah, and numbers don't lie. Their special teams rated in the top half of the league every year. So,
but also you have to look at it as you're an 0-16 football team. Special teams comes from your backup linebackers, your backup corners, backup receivers, backup running backs. All these guys who can't quite start, but they're good enough to be on a football team. If your starting lineup for a football team is 0-16, how bad is that depth behind you to fill out a 53-man roster?
It's a yikes.
I don't care. I want to see what he does with more talent on the special teams. And then the last coach that we haven't mentioned, Harry Highstand, the former Bears offensive line coach, went to Notre Dame. Olin Kreutz, the former Bears, I think he was a 6-time Pro Bowl center for the Bears. He said that Highstand here is one of the top 3 offensive line coaches in the country.
High praise.
Mike Golick came out and said that too. Mike Golick, obviously a huge Notre Dame fan.
Yeah, he's a little biased.
But if you look at the former offensive lines that the Bears had, I think during those like mid to late 2000s, you had pretty solid guys that got the Bears to the Super Bowl in 06 and 07. But if he's as good as they say they are, then you know what, he's worth the hire. They said it was a home run hire at the time, and I tend to agree.
Yeah, coaching in the NFL is so huge. So this is a really, really, really good staff that Nagy has put together, and I think Trubisky's going to develop to be a star. I really do. I think we always go back to Jose's tweet, right? Jose's tweet. I think it's pinned on his Twitter right now.
Yeah, our friend Jose Martinez.
It's going to be a bust in 5 years.
Yeah,
so.
well.
So I think Trubisky's going to develop into a star into the staff, and just really quick, going to their draft now. The Bears pick 8th in the next NFL draft. They have to trade back, I think.
I think so too.
I think they have to do the opposite of what happened last year, where they traded up to get a quarterback. Now you've got the quarterback, trade down, get a couple extra picks. Kind of they just flip the script from last year. Somebody's going to need to move up.
Well, someone's going to need to move up to get a quarterback specifically.
Correct, yes.
It's a pretty top-heavy quarterback draft in this upcoming draft. Someone who's going to be sitting around wanting to be sitting around 8 is going to want to trade up for him, and one of these quarterbacks. And the wide receivers, you have Calvin Ridley, who's going to be a 24-year-old rookie, and then you have Cortland Sutton from SMU, who has all the tools to be a number 1 receiver. They're not really worth the 8th overall pick.
I don't know if Ryan Pace is going near receiver in the first round again.
Well, Kevin White.
I just don't know if he'll do it.
One underrated name, though, and I don't know if they take him at 8, is Quentin Nelson, the guard from Notre Dame as well. I don't know if you take him at 8, but he obviously has that connection. The Bears could use some help on the offensive line. It would allow for a replacement for Josh Sitton. It would allow for Kyle Long to be kicked out to tackle if necessary.
First off, if Kyle Long doesn't play a full season next year, I'm going to lose it.
Yeah, Kyle Long's a great
player. He's just hurt constantly.
But I mean, they've had lost years, so it's like, what does it matter?
I get it, but now you're going to need him to be healthy 16 games a year.
Yeah, and I think if they're in contention, there's more. I think they've been sitting.
There's more of a desire to play.
Yeah, I think they're just sitting him down because it's a lost fucking season.
All right, moving now to the NBA. It's a big day for the Bulls Nation, baby. Zach LaVine, the highly anticipated return to basketball is tonight. He's back on the floor. Bulls are playing Detroit tonight. And obviously, LaVine, probably top 5 best athletes in the NBA, acquired in the Jimmy Butler trade with Chris Dunn and the pick that is Lauri Markkanen. So this is a big day for the Bulls franchise to have all 3 of these guys on the floor at one time. LaVine is going to, in my opinion, just blow up as the season goes on. He's got all the tools you need. He's super athletic. His shot's getting better. He can create his own shot. He can drive the lane. It'll be wait and see on his defense, but it should be...
His defense is bad.
It'll be wait and see on his defense, but...
Well, so far in this game, now we're actually recording, obviously, during his first game. He hit a 3 to open the game, and he has 11 points in 16 minutes.
I'm stumped that I didn't even think to go to the game tonight. We could have just done this live.
We could have done Mom's Basement from...
on Facebook Live or something from the stadium, from the United Center, and just done it there. Just live reactions of Zach LaVine's first 20 minutes in a Bulls uniform, because that's how he's going to play tonight. It's probably around 20 minutes, Fred Hoiberg said. But I'm really hyped about the Bulls. I mean, this is a team where I thought they would have a problem winning 15 games all year.
Me too.
And now they're 15 and 27. So it's surprising to me. These guys have kind of
Oh, excuse me.
We both yawned. I mean,
You yawned and I yawned because I heard you yawn. They've kind of blown my expectations out of the water, which is good. But it's also bad.
Yeah.
Because you want to lose.
Because this team with like a top 3 pick in next year's draft would be so fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
And they're ruining it right now, and it really bothers me. It really bothers me. People get upset with me when I want teams to lose. I want my fucking teams to lose because I want them to be better long term. This is just awful. I mean, it's not awful because guys like Markkanen have been playing really well. Chris Dunn is an absolute monster.
We've been saying
I love
this.
Chris Dunn.
We're like a broken record on Chris Dunn because it feels like people just don't believe it, and then like night after night after night he just goes out and balls, baby. This guy is so good. He's better than Lonzo Ball, by the way. Don't at me, Crossover Report, if you're listening to this.
I mean, with a guy like Zach LaVine, you have a star scorer. You got Markkanen, who can be a star scorer. You got Chris Dunn to distribute to him.
Chris Dunn can do everything.
Chris Dunn can
He's
do everything.
proving it this year. He can do everything.
Chris Dunn can have a game where he goes out and scores like 30 points, and then he can have a game where he has 11 points and 10 assists and 7 steals, things like that.
And 8 boards. I mean, he could stuff the stat sheet, which I love from a point guard, because I like Russell Westbrook. I like his game. But for me, personally, if I have a point guard, I want that point guard to kind of do everything well, rather than, score, be a great scorer and a okay passer.
Like, have the ability to do everything well, not just, like, go out and score 35 points a game, but if you need a bucket from him with 2 minutes left in the game, he can do it.
And Chris Dunn's the best defender on the team.
Chris Dunn's a good defender.
He's the best distributor on the team. I mean, he's great with stealing the basketball. He's great crashing the boards as a point guard. He just does everything well. I might have to invest in a Chris Dunn jersey. I mean, I might have to go out and just spend.
We should.
We should.
We should do. What is it? When Bagley plays his first game as the Bulls next year, we'll do Mom's Basement. We'll do Mom's Basement, and we can wear Chris Dunn jerseys.
I'm down, and it's really great to see the young guys develop. Obviously, young Dirk, Lauri Markkanen.
Fucking young Dirk. He went up against Porzingis and took him down.
Yeah, he posterized Cantor.
Oh, Cantor was on the way down while Markkanen was still going up.
He sent Cantor back to Turkey where he got locked up for hating on their president. Imagine if that was America.
Yeah, I'd be in jail.
Yikes. Yikes. About 5 million people would be in jail.
Yeah.
I mean, he just showed no remorse for the Turkish man and his Cantor. So Markkanen is a god. I mean, he's so good. Yeah, he's so fun to watch.
And you know what? I'm not going to lie to you guys. I didn't know very much about him going into the draft. I didn't really know how the draft was going to play out.
I was on it,
but I liked it. I like it.
I like it a lot. I love it. As I would say, love it.
Now, as far as this Bulls team goes, they need to get rid of pieces.
Yeah, you need to trade everything.
I still think that there's hope that this team can land a top 5 pick in the next draft, and you need to get rid of these excess pieces you don't need. You need to acquire draft picks. So, in case I don't know how often this happens in the NBA. I'm gonna say it doesn't happen very often, but if a team with 2 first-round picks, trades up to get a higher first-round pick, I don't think that happens very often.
It happens a lot when I play NBA 2K18 on PS4. It does.
Well, that must mean it happens in real life.
I'm just saying. No, but in all seriousness, I mean, Mirotic, Lopez, Portis, Holiday, all got to go, Coach. They got to go.
The only 3 who should be, really untouchable on this roster are Dunn, LaVine, and Markkanen.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? That's just the way it has to be. I mean, I get, people might like Bobby Portis and Mirotic, the 1-2 punch. Haha, get it? Recycled joke by now. But they got to go. I mean, it's just plain and simple. You need to acquire more picks. You need to do anything you can do to get younger and get a stud in this draft, because that gives you 4 really good players, a couple great players.
Plus a ton of cap space, too, where you can go ahead and sign a superstar.
You can go ahead, because the NBA, what I've discovered, just my own research and stuff like that, the NBA is just a league of horrible contracts. There's just horrible contracts everywhere in the NBA. It's wild.
See Felicio, Cristiano.
I mean, yeah, Cristiano Felicio, worst contract ever. He doesn't deserve a cent.
By the way, Dunn's on his way to a triple-double tonight.
Chris Dunn.
Chris Dunn's a fucking guy.
I mean, you got contracts like Lou Aldeng. The Joakim Noah contract. You could probably look at every team and find at least one bad contract where you're just like, what was the GM doing? Like, honestly, why did you think it was an okay idea? Like,
for such a hard cap at the end. I say hard cap because some teams just end up going over it anyway. But it's not the highest cap in the world, the NBA salary cap. And the amount of money they just throw out is ridiculous.
It's wild to me.
It's It's absolutely ridiculous.
Like, I mean, even Timothy Mozgov got paid. What did that guy do to deserve a contract worth anything more than the minimum? Like, it's just a league of absolutely terrible contracts, and it's mind-blowing. I really, really would like to tell you, if you're listening, if you're watching, go look up NBA. Just search bad NBA contracts 2017 on Google and see what
we could do an entire podcast.
I mean, yeah, you're going to laugh. You're going to be like, are they kidding me? You're going to laugh. I laugh, but I might have that weird sense of humor where I might be one of 10 people in the world that find that
No,
funny.
it's fucking funny.
It's funny. I agree. It's so
Also,
funny.
New England's up 14. So,
Rip.
you got Tennessee in your survivor pool or whatever? Is that what
No,
you
I
said?
got Buffalo. I was saying the guy that has Tennessee. All right, hang on. Backstory. So I'm in a pool thing. You put in $10. You pick a team. I picked Buffalo. Playoff teams, obviously. I picked Buffalo, but you play with the spread. So last week Buffalo lost, but the spread was 9. They lost by 7. So I get to move on, and I get to take Jacksonville. So this week I have Jacksonville plus 7 against Pittsburgh. So if they lose by 6, I get to take Pittsburgh and move on, which I kind of like. Kind of like the way I'm going. But New England was a 14-point favorite.
But your buddy has New England, or has Tennessee?
He has Tennessee plus 14.
Oh, it's 14 right now.
So you'd like to think the odds were in his favor, but apparently Tom Brady says, nah, buddy,
Nah.
you're going home tonight. Anyways, that's just a quick story. But, yeah, I think it's really all on the Bulls. It's just kind of an exciting time to get all 3 of those guys on the court for the first time in Bulls uniforms. As you said, Chris Dunn on his way to a triple-double. Zach LaVine's looked pretty good tonight.
He's got 14.
And not Miritich, I hate Miritich. Markkanen is young Dirk.
Yeah, just so we can get people Zach LaVine's final line, because I think he's done. 14 points, 2 assists in 19 minutes in his Bulls debut, 5 of 9 from the floor, 3 of 4 from long range.
That's sick.
Zach LaVine's such a fucking good player.
Yeah, that's sick. That's Jimmy Butler. Who?
Yeah.
He's not a superstar. What?
He's not a superstar.
Is he under here? No.
No.
All right.
No.
You got
It'd be really fucking weird.
Hey guys, love the show. Hi Jimmy, how about $1 million? Anyways,
that's what I hope is happening.
You got anything else on the Bulls? Or are you ready to go?
No, we're good.
All right, let's move to baseball then, because wow. Corey, I'm gonna let you take the reins on this because
so fucking happy.
You texted me like immediately, immediately on this trade.
I was so fucking happy because little backstory. So the White Sox started their rebuild, traded Chris Sale, traded Adam Eaton, and then you had one last really big piece that can get you a big return in Jose Quintana that the White Sox were trying to trade. And the top 2 teams interested in him were the Houston Astros and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pirates Twitter, specifically a guy named Rum Bunter is his name.
Oh, I've seen that
Yeah,
guy.
that
He's
dude,
stupid.
He's stupid. He kept comparing Q to Garrett Cole and saying Q would make a great number 4, and yeah, like David Kaplan, that penis who blocked me.
The people that block you on Twitter is climbing.
It's
slowly climbing.
Great. It's great. Like, again, half the city of Atlanta. But anywho, he said, Q would make a great 4. He pictures a rotation where it's Q and Cole in the rotation and being able to take on the Cubs and all this stuff. And then we're like, okay, whatever, picture whatever the fuck you want to picture, but what are you going to give us? And we wanted, 2 of their top 3 prospects in exchange for Jose Quintana. He laughed at it. He essentially laughed at it. And, he said, the Pirates can do better without him. Well, the Pirates didn't do better without him. Fuck the Pirates. The Pirates were terrible.
Have you checked his Twitter since this trade went down?
I tagged him immediately. What the fuck do you think?
Can you give me an update on anything he has tweeted?
I'll pull it up while I'm talking.
Because
but obviously, since then, oh my god, my entire timeline is retweeting people from my White Sox group. Look at this. About Rum Bunter. The dude's fucking terrible. But, so fast forward, the Pirates are fucking awful, and they're starting to sell. Today, they traded their best pitcher, Garrett Cole.
Their best player.
Yeah, their best player. To, I almost said the Yankees. Ooh, no. They were talking to the Yankees, and Brian Cashman told them to go fuck themselves when they asked for Clint Frazier or Gleyber Torres. But they traded him for, what's his name, Joe Musgrove, a relief pitcher who had a 4.52 ERA last year. I know ERA isn't everything, but at the same time, a 4.52 ERA. And their number 9 prospect, a third baseman named Colin Moran from the Houston Astros. Now, when the White Sox were in talks with the Astros about Jose Quintana, I liked Colin Moran as the third piece in a trade behind my favorite prospect in baseball, Kyle Tucker, and then Forrest Whitley, a great pitching prospect that they have. But it's just sort of funny because Rumbunter, this guy, and Pirates Twitter in general, they compared Garrett Cole to Jose Quintana and said Garrett Cole is a better pitcher than Jose Quintana by far. First of all, I think they're on the same, playing field. I think Quintana is better in terms of availability, and that is the best contribution you can give to a team. It doesn't matter how good you are if you're not healthy. But the Jose Quintana return got us Eloy Jimenez, Dylan Cease in 2 smaller pieces. The Garrett Cole return got Joe Musgrove, Colin Moran, and 2 lesser pieces. But let's it's really just, it makes me laugh.
The Pirates season has officially ended for 2018 on January 13th.
That's fucking hilarious.
They have no shot. They have no shot.
I mean, I don't think they did in the first place, but
no, but I mean, now you have to just say, as Sam Panayotovich would say, put them in the box.
I mean, fucking, it's just laughable. I mean, I'm looking at here, this guy Rumbunter tweeted out, when was this? In December of 2016. He's thinking about a Cole, Tyon, Quintana, Nova, and Cole rotation, and
it's Clint Hurdle bouncing on the bench smiling.
Yeah,
it's a gif.
That dude's a fucking moron.
Wow, he's gonna get roasted tonight.
Yep, and he called him a solid number 4, and I tweeted him as soon as the trade happened.
Pirates got fisted.
But they did. How can you make a trade this bad? Garrett Cole is a good pitcher.
Yeah.
I know you liked Garrett Cole more because he always pitched well against the Cubs. You saw him pretty regularly. You wanted him more than Jose Quintana, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But how do you don't get a single top 100
I
prospect.
especially want him now that I see what they got for him.
Well, that was the joke too. Did Rick Hahn fleece Theo Epstein? If that's the price for pitchers in that category, high end number 2s.
No, I would agree with you on that though. Jose Quintana is always available.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, I don't think Jose Quintana's ever been hurt since he joined the White Sox in 2012. Oh, God, that'd be fucking great. I'm not gonna lie, I love Jose Quintana to death, but that'd be fucking great if he got hurt. Like, just to see the Cub fans' reactions. But, anywho, awful trade, bottom line. The Pirates way overplayed their hand. They talked the Yankees out of even negotiating with them, so they were negotiating with one team. And
what happens.
When that happened, you drive the price down. They didn't get a single top 100 prospect for him. When they were talking about this trade a couple days ago, I was thinking maybe they get one of Kyle Tucker, who is a top 10 prospect, Forrest Whitley, who is probably a top 30 prospect, and they got none of them. They got the number 9 prospect in the Astros organization.
And it's good to see somebody who just won the World Series still going out and getting after it here.
Yeah, I like that. I like that
a lot. Yeah, I mean, obviously the Cubs, they won 2016. They didn't really do too much in the offseason.
They lost.
Yeah, they lost. Fowler was the big piece.
I've always liked Dexter Fowler more than you have, but at the same time, they lost. I don't think there's any way you can't take the Astros as the favorites to win the World Series next year.
I would have to agree.
That rotation, it's got Verlander, it's got Cole, it's got McCullers, and it's got Keuchel. That's a ridiculously good rotation.
Especially how good Verlander looked this year, even as he's aging or whatever, his velocity is still very, very good.
Yeah, I think he was re-energized by being, in the playoffs, but the Astros don't win that World Series without Justin Verlander.
Yeah, if they don't make that trade, and they barely got that trade in.
Who is beating that team in a 7-game series?
It's going to be tough.
I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, the Yankees might have a good shot at it, but again, they're just a really...
Boy, the AL's looking tough for those White Sox rebuilding.
Well,
I was looking nice. Astros looking nice.
I was thinking about this too. I mean, your first goal has to be to win a division. Cleveland's taken a step back. We've talked about it a little bit on previous podcasts. And 2 pitchers in that Astros rotation, maybe 3. I don't know what McCullers' contract is like, but Verlander and Cole, I think, only have 2 years left on their deals. So I think by the time the White Sox are ready to contend, that rotation will take a step back. But I'm fucking shaking a little bit about the Yankees.
All right, now let's go on to some inbox questions. You said we got 4 today, right?
I thought you wanted to do.
No, let's skip over that. Let's just go right to the inbox
skip
questions.
over it. All right.
Yeah, I'm moving on the fly here.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Fair enough. First inbox question.
So the first 3 are White Sox-based questions, so I'll just kind of take the lead on them.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to pull up the names real quick, but I know the first one came from my buddy Dom, who asked me who would I prefer, who I think is going to have a better year next year, Lucas Giolito or Reynaldo Lopez. 2 guys who were in the White Sox farm earlier and are now graduated from prospect status. I think Lucas Giolito is going to have a better year. I think he's just a better pure pitcher. I think Lopez has better stuff, and I think Lopez is going to be ultimately, just because of the depth the White Sox have. I think he is going to end up in the bullpen or as like their number 5 starter, which isn't a bad thing because they just have ridiculous pitching depth. But Lucas Giolito is one of my guys. I think could be an ace. I think the White Sox have 4 future aces. I think Lucas Giolito is one of them just because of breaking stuff. It's ridiculous. The only thing I wish he would do is maybe tack 2 or 3 more mile an hour on that fastball, get up into the 96, 97 range as opposed to like 93, 94. Another question came from, let me see, my friend Nick, who asked me, who would you want to start on opening day? Ideally, Carlos Rodon. But you're fucking laughing. Rodon will be back sometime between April and June. I would love it to be April because I want to see, what he can do with a full season. But since that's not going to happen, I would like it to be Lucas Giolito. I don't know if they'll do that. I'm hoping it's not James Shields.
You'll hear me say this again. Rodon's a bust.
Kyle Schwarber was picked right after him, and you're going to talk Carlos Rodon shit on this fucking podcast.
Rodon's a bust.
Yeah.
Next question.
Eat my cock.
Rodon's
Anywho,
a bust.
and then
what's the title of this podcast this week?
It better fucking not be. we have a new head coach, and we have fucking Zach Levine returning. It better
I'm
not
throwing
be
a curveball title.
Yeah, fuck that. And my friend Ryan asked me, what is my projection for Tim Anderson this year? First of all, Tim Anderson's projection starts at the end of January when I go to White Sox Fest, and he fucking unblocks me on Twitter. I missed my fucking shortstop. Oh, I said one thing, and I'm so sad. Oh, it really hurts my soul.
Tim Anderson, if you need to do this, you can block me if it means you'll unblock Corey.
Oh,
That's how much it means to him. Go ahead and block me at Joe_Frank01.
I'm so sad that Tim Anderson blocked me, but from a stat projection-wise, he's not a very high on-base percentage guy.
Because he doesn't take walks.
He doesn't take walks, but I think, so most of his on-base percentage is going to come from his batting average, so I'm thinking he hits like 270, 275. He was showing really good power at the end of the year. I think if he, he had a really rough year last year. I think he could be a guy that, hits 20 bombs and steals, 20 to 30 bases, and then sets himself up to be that guy who hits, 7 and 9 in a really good lineup in the future. I don't think he belongs at the top of a lineup. I think people see how fast he is and think that, yeah, he could be a leadoff guy. It's not just about speed anymore. This isn't like 2002. So
there's almost no true leadoff hitters.
Yeah, I just want a guy who takes fucking walk.
And even people who made a big deal out of losing Fowler for the Cubs, like they don't have a leadoff hitter. They were like second in the NL in runs last year. So
yeah, I get it. I still wouldn't have lost Fowler in my opinion, but we've talked about this plenty. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate the White Sox questions, and then our last inbox question comes from my other friend Ryan. I have 2 friends named Ryan in this chat.
Sick.
Expectations for Zach Levine. He asked me Zach Levine coming off his injury. I'll just say expectations for Zach Levine in the early going. I mean, once his minutes open, score a fucking ton of points.
20 points a game. Yeah.
20
score a ton of points. Yeah. No, that's it. Seriously.
20 points a game. Seriously. I mean, I don't see how you can think otherwise. The guy just is a pure athlete. He's fucking fast
so
as hell.
smooth.
He's smooth. He doesn't waste a step. He can blow by people. He could score from anywhere on the floor. I love it. I mean, that's what I want to see in my shooting guard.
And Bulls fans shouldn't have the cloud of Derrick Rose ACL over their head.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that too before the show too. I was like, well, how can Zach Levine come back and Derrick Rose can't and all this bullshit?
It's different for everybody. Now I'm not going to pretend to be a doctor here because we all know I'm only a nurse. I mean, we went over.
Fuck you! Don't say only.
We
a
went
nurse.
over this. I passed your test. I became a nurse on one of the last episodes.
I'm gonna fucking murder.
Anyways, everyone's different. I mean, nowadays you can come back stronger from an ACL injury, so you got to hope that Zach Levine can do that. And
I think Zach Levine hopefully has more internal fortitude than Derrick Rose.
Yeah,
Derrick Rose
mentally,
is kind of a pussy.
Mentally, he needs to be stronger.
He was
than
kind of
Derrick
a
Rose.
pussy, and at least with the first injury. Now Derrick Rose's knee has just been ripped 17 different ways, and I feel so bad.
And so
for
is his
him.
heart.
Oh yeah.
Cue sad music.
Yeah, we could just do it.
All right. Anyways, that's all we really got for you guys today on this episode of Mom's Basement. Thank you so much for watching, listening.
So good to be back.
Whatever it may be, it feels great to be behind the microphone. Like I said, we got this new green screen here. If I didn't figure out how to work it, it's still just going to be a green fabric laying behind us here.
I really hope you figure it out.
I really hope I figure it out, too. You can always subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, and, of course, subscribe on iTunes as well. Leave that 5-star review. It really helps us grow. We would greatly appreciate that. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Joe_Frank, FRANCC01, and Corey is at Corey L. Diablo, Diablo, Diablo. on Twitter. So make sure you give us a follow. DM us if you have any questions for the next podcast, stuff like that. Let us know if there's any kind of videos you want to see from us. 2018 is a new year. We're really going to be pushing the episodes out this year. Promise you that. And as always, we'll see you guys next time.